All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm super excited to be sharing with you some powerful new information about how you can build a better relationship, or at least gain some deeper understandings with your relationship around food, your energy, how to optimize your nutrition, how to optimize your digestion, your assimilation, and most importantly, give you some deeper insights into how you operate and how you can live the best life ever. Mostly when I say best life ever, I'm talking about how you can live a life that is true to who you are. Because when you live your life as you really are, as your authentic self, as you are designed to be, your life begins to unfold in a pretty powerful, magical way. There are lots of different ways to do this, and today I'm going to give you some really important introductions into how you can activate
Karen?
better digestion. Yes. Cindy, are you there?
Can hear you fine. I was just checking.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're good. We're good.
Okay, good. So basically my goal today is to give you some deeper insights into how you can make your body work better for you, and how you can, for you to see the relationship between your energy and why you experience the energy that you're experiencing in the way in which you experience it, and how your energy impacts your health and your wellness, and most particularly impacts the choices that you make around food, and how you can make better choices or different choices around food so that you feel better. All right, so if we want to keep moving through, Cindy, back to slide 3. You should have just some quick housekeeping. If you look on the page just below where the video is playing, there's an orange button there that says handouts. If you want to open those up, you can follow along with us and take notes or print those. Or if you're watching the video after we've done recording, if you're watching the recording, you can print those and follow along with it. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what influences our choices around health, wellness, and food. Why are we making the choices that we make, or why do you choose what you're choosing? We're going to talk about why just changing your diet doesn't really result in permanent health and wellness. You got to do more than just change what you're putting into your body. We're also going to talk about understanding some key elements that are unique to you in your unique energy blueprint for health and wellness, because we're not all designed to create or be healthy and well in the same way. You know, we are fed these sort of research-based, one-size-fits-all formulas for here's what you need to eat, or here's how you need to exercise. And the truth is, it's going to be different for each and every one of us. And so it's really crucial that you understand your unique energy blueprint and how you can go about making and choosing the right choices for you so that you can stay stronger, healthier, and more vital. Then we're going to talk a little bit about how to change the decisions, or some key factors that you need to look at when you're making decisions that you make about food, nutrition, self-care, rest, restoration, health, wellness, and more. So try to jam all that into an hour. So the first thing we're going to talk about are the 4 key factors that influence our choices. So what influences our choices around health, wellness, and food? The 4 key factors, by the way, as I go through these, are number 1, your unique energy blueprint and your human design. Number 2, what we call your conditioning. Number 3, we're going to talk about the mistaken motivations that you might have. And number 4, we're going to talk about your belief systems and how your belief systems might actually impact your relationship with food. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your unique energy blueprint. And if you later on, I'm going to show you a link for how you can get a copy of your unique human design, your chart. So just hang on. If you have your chart out, you can go ahead and get it out. I'll remind you to do that a couple of times. If you don't have a free chart, if you haven't received your map, your human design chart, your blueprint for your health and wellness, I will tell you how you can get that for free in just a couple of slides. So let's talk first about what exactly is human design. Human design is a cutting-edge personality assessment tool. It is practical, simple, reliable, and life-changing. I will tell you, as a coach, I've been a life coach. I started to do the math the other day, and it was a little scary. I've been a life coach for 26 years. I was a life coach literally before we called life coaching. It didn't have a title when I first started doing this. And then I studied with Thomas Leonard, and who is usually, I think, considered to be the father of life coaching. And the term kind of got coined because they wrote an article about him in Time magazine, and then my profession suddenly had a name. When I was in all the years that I've been a life coach, I've used a lot of different assessment tools, including Myers-Briggs and, of course, human design. And when I first started doing human design, I was really skeptical by nature. And what I found was that the information that I was getting off of the human design charts in comparison to the Myers-Briggs assessments that I was doing with my clients, the human design chart ran circles around the Myers-Briggs in terms of helping me understand what drives and motivates my clients, and where my clients might be carrying conditioned pain that might be keeping them stuck or blocked, or keeping them from experiencing the full juice of being alive. So I'm excited, if you're new to human design, to really introduce this to you. If you're not new to human design, I'm going to review some really important, powerful concepts that, even if you've done human design for 18 or 20 years, are always important to go back and review, because these are the cornerstones of understanding how your energy works, and most importantly, understanding the relationship between your energy and the choices that you make. Because ultimately, to tap into full health and wellness and vitality, it's all about making different choices, and you've got to know how to make good, strong, powerful, reliable, consistent choices that are good for you. So human design is a synthesis of Eastern and Western astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Hindu chakra system, the Judaic Kabbalah, and quantum physics. We're going to talk a little bit about the quantum physics piece today, not so much about all the other parts. The truth is, even though it's got elements from these different esoteric sciences in it, it is really in and of itself its own unique creation. We use human design just like you do astrology. We need your birthday, birth time, and birthplace. We plug it into a computer program. It spits out a chart, and that chart looks a little bit like this. Cindy, can you go to the next slide? There we go. It looks like this. So usually when we're looking at a human design, we really just look at that triangular piece. This is actually Oprah Winfrey's chart. So you'll get a chart when you generate a chart. It looks kind of like this. This chart is really, really powerful. When I look at this chart, and I can literally talk about a chart for days. When I look at this chart, it shows me, or this is for me, a blueprint for your human experience. So it shows me what your strengths are. It shows me where your weaknesses are. It shows me where your vulnerabilities are. And Cindy, if you want to scroll the slides forward just a little bit, that'd be great. It shows me your potential for wisdom. It shows me how to make the best decisions, how you experience the world. And one of the things that it shows me is it actually shows me not only your hardwiring for your energy and your life purpose and your strengths and weaknesses, it also shows me physiologically where you may have some vulnerabilities. So what we talk about in human design is we talk about what happens when you, I call it, live off the chart, meaning when you start to live a life that isn't in alignment with your energy blueprint, when you're not doing what's correct for you, when you're overriding your own internal sense of authority. Anytime you start to do that, it takes a toll energetically on the body. And when we take a toll on the body, or on the energy field that way, we start to make decisions that are not always the best for us. And they ultimately will lead us down a path, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, towards burnout, towards compromising what you need to do for health and wellness. And you'll start making choice after choice after choice. It's a slippery road that takes you further and further away from what's right and correct for you. And so when we look at healing and the human design chart, or healing in the human design system, what we're really looking at first and foremost is, how do we need to change the way that you make decisions? How do we need to change your level of awareness about who you are, so that you're bringing yourself back in sync with your energy blueprint, so that you're not wasting energy holding up a mask or a facade, or trying to maintain a quality of energy that's not yours to sustain over time. All right, next slide, Cindy. And actually, you can even go past this one. So the chart is a blueprint for your human experience condition, and it's a map to show you how you create health. And it's going to help you discover, and hopefully today I'll give you some new insights, help you discover some ways to be healthy and resilient in every way. So when you look at the chart, and by the way, if you don't have your human design chart, here's some instructions for how you can get it. Hang on, go one more, Cindy. If you don't have your chart if you don't have your chart yet, go to this website, healingbyhumandesignSystem.com/thank you. And on that page will be the instructions for how you can get your free human design chart. And you're not just going to get the chart, because if you just got that all by itself, it would be a little bit confusing because there's a lot of data on that little strange piece of paper. I'm also going to send you a little report with it too, so you can at least begin to understand the basics of your chart and get a nice, good, immediate bead on what does that chart really mean for you. If you don't have a chart, go there now and get one. We actually personally run charts. I actually have somebody who runs a chart for me, so it's not just a generic system. So sometimes it takes a little bit to get you the chart, a couple of hours, but you will get a hand-run chart with a report. If you do have your chart, get it out now, and let's review some basic concepts. So when you look at your chart, you'll see that on that chart you have colored in sections and white sections. Okay, so doesn't matter what color they are. Sometimes people are like, well, what does it mean if it's green? Or what does it mean if it's red? There are some elements that will change color-wise, but they're not significant for the intent and purpose of this particular call or this particular webinar. However, if you want to learn a little bit more about your chart and go deeper into what do these colors mean, I do have a book that I've written. It's available on Amazon. It's called Understanding Human Design. And if you order that book, you can even get it on Kindle if you want to get into it right now. It'll take you through your chart and the parts of the chart. But for all intents and purposes, for this particular webinar, we're going to be focused mainly on one thing, and that is, do you have something in your chart colored in, or do you have it white? Anything that's colored in on the chart, we call it defined. Okay, anything that's colored in, we'll say is defined. Anything that is white, we will either say it's undefined or open. So colored is defined and white is open. So you'll hear me say, if you have the white triangle on the right open, that means white. Or if I say, if you have the square in the center of the chart colored in, that's defined. So anything that's colored in, next slide, Cindy, is the essence of who you really are. The things in your chart that are colored in, that's your energy. That's energy that you have access to consistently all the time. That is that inner part of yourself, oftentimes that you sense or feel is in there, but you try, or maybe oftentimes confused about, well, how do I live this part of my personality out? This is the part of you that I oftentimes will call the secret self, meaning this is the part of your personality that you hope and maybe even dream has a place in the world, has a purpose in the world, but you don't always bring it out because a lot of times we're not taught or trained or given permission to live out this part of who we are. But anything that's colored in is consistent and defined, meaning this is energy you have all the time. You're going to experience it all the time. There's also energy that you are actually broadcasting out into the world. So this is the energy that oftentimes people will perceive from you. This is who they think you are. This is who they feel you are, even if you can't quite figure out how to bring it out into your world. Going on to the next slide, anything that is white in the chart is what we call open. And where we have openness is oftentimes where we have the biggest challenge or adventure in trying to live life true to who we really are. Wherever you have openness in your chart is where you are taking in energy and information from the world around you and from the people around you. So wherever you have openness, that's actually energy that you're receiving from other people. Now, ultimately, the purpose of openness is for you to become wise about those particular energies. So when you have openness in your chart, you actually are becoming wise about those particular energies. So let's say, if we can go back to the slide for a minute, Cindy. Let's say that you have the triangle on the right-hand side of the chart. You'll see That triangle is the center or the energy center for emotional energy. Half of us are going to have this white, half of us are going to have this defined or colored in. Wherever you have openness, you take energy and information in, and you don't just take it in, you amplify it. So if you have this triangle on the right-hand side open, the solar plexus, the emotional solar plexus, this emotional energy center, in your life, when you go out into the world or you go into relationship with people, you are going to experience emotional energy from other people. So you're sensitive and you're empathic with that energy. You're actually feeling the emotional energy of the people around you, the room around you. And what you'll do is you won't just experience it, you won't just feel it, you actually take it in and you amplify it. So what happens to us a lot of times is wherever we have white in the chart, we develop behavioral patterns that are A, consistent, so we'll talk a little bit about that, and B, we start to identify with the energy that we are taking in from others and amplifying, and we think it's our own. So sometimes people who have this particular configuration where this emotional center on the right-hand side of the chart is open or white, they sometimes think that they are deeply emotional and very dramatic and feel things deeply. And absolutely you feel things deeply, but it's going to always change for you. It's going to be variable because how you experience this energy and who you experience this energy with changes. And because of that variability, it's A, not yours, B, difficult and certainly not reliable to use this level of awareness for your decision making because it's not yours. It's not part of who you are. But we do get deeply influenced by the energies that we experience from others. Some of you may have seen, and I've sent out an email yesterday about my daughter, my middle daughter has a friend from college who got a tattoo over the weekend. And my daughter was very, very upset about this tattoo because her girlfriend got the same tattoo on her back right shoulder that she has on hers. And my daughter's tattoo was very, very personal and very, very important to her. And then her friend copied her. And my daughter was very upset. And I said, well, let's look at your girlfriend's chart. So we ran her chart and we looked at it. And of course, her girlfriend is profoundly white in her chart, profoundly open. So her friend takes in all of this energy from her relationship with my daughter, amplifies it, including she takes in my daughter's identity and amplifies it. And because she doesn't understand that what she's experiencing within herself is actually amplified energy from other people, she ran out and made a decision to go get a tattoo like her friend, which hopefully she won't regret later, but she went and made this decision to get this tattoo. And a lot of that, I would put money down on the fact that she is picking up my daughter's energy, amplifying it, mistakenly believing that this is her energy, and she's now making choices based on energy that she's taking in from someone else. And she may find over time that that choice wasn't actually true for her, it was true for my daughter, and that now she's taken that energy in and it's confused her and taken her awareness away from what is truth for her. That's a tattoo. When it comes to food and eating and making choices in life, it's easy for us, for everyone just about, to have their energy influenced by the people around you. And if you don't know how to tease out those energies and get clear about what energy and what energetic influence belongs to who, if you're making choices based on the people around you and their energy rather than what's aligned and correct for you, you can really get out of sync and take yourself actually away from your own natural vitality and your own health and wellness and make choices that are not good for you, or be confused about what are the right choices for you because you can't realize or you don't know how to tune into what's correct for you. So when you get your human design chart, or if you already have your human design chart, one of the things that you're going to see is that there are 5 energy types in the human design system. There are generators, manifesting generators, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. I'm not going to go deep into energy types in this particular presentation just because I don't want to keep you here for hours and hours. However, get your chart. With the chart, there's a little explanation that comes with it, and there's also a nice little video that you can watch that'll introduce you more deeply to your human design type. The reason why understanding your type is so crucial is that knowing your type does give you a good solid decision-making strategy. So you can start, I call it training wheels, start putting on the training wheels on your being and have some fallback strategic ways of tuning into what's truth for you so that you're making good and strong and powerful decisions about your energy, your health, your abundance, your relationships, your everything that's in alignment with your energy and what's right for you. So, all right, next slide, Cindy. So again, just to review, whatever's colored in is what you'll be most likely to experience consistently, and whatever is white in the chart, next slide, is going to be what you experience in a variable way, and sometimes intense, because remember, you're not just taking it in, you're actually amplifying it. So it's very easy to be overwhelmed by other people's energies and lose connection with your own. All right. So let's talk about, in the context of understanding your human design as the first thing that keeps us sometimes from having a good, healthy relationship with food, let's talk about food, energy, and human design. So this is, by the way, this is a introduction. I really want to be clear, because it would take me days to really go deep into all the different subtle nuances about food and nutrition and physiology. But I want to give you just some basic introductions, mostly because my main goal is this. I think that sometimes collectively we have some pretty, I think, negative belief systems about food, nutrition, and certainly about body image and weight. And if you're in a place where you're not liking where you are with your body, if you don't feel comfortable in it, if you don't feel healthy, if you've been trying to make good decisions, or you've been reading books and trying to apply diet principles or exercise principles, and you can't seem to stick with it, you know, the tendency for us is to really beat ourselves up and to say, you know, I don't have willpower, I'm weak, there's something going on in my moral character that keeps me from sticking to a plan. And I'm going to tell you, it's none of those. We are not trained correctly to make good choices and good decisions and to tune into ourselves. And there are an unlimited number of factors that can be taking you away from tuning into those correct choices. So if you're struggling with making good, healthy choices or having good and healthy patterns, I really want you to start right now with forgiving yourself and giving yourself, or setting the intention to go a little bit more into a journey of self-discovery and see if you can't unravel some of the entangled energetic conundrums that sometimes create for us patterns that don't work for us. Once you understand what's not working for you and why it's not working for you, then it gets much easier to make a different set of choices, because you can understand at that point what's influencing you and what's right and correct for you, and stop beating yourself up because you're trying to follow the formula and it's not working. There are four main sources of struggle with food. Okay, so those are when we're talking, for the intensive purpose of the seminar, we're going to talk about energy energy protection, not projection, energy protection. I'm going to talk about conditioning and how your conditioning influences how you make decisions about food. We're going to talk about mistaken motivations and your belief systems. All of what I'm going to share with you today is based on the work that I've done with people over the last 26 years. I actually got into doing coaching first and foremost, and energy psychology around weight loss. My first series of workshops and seminars that I did in the very beginning was about, and this was, like I said, when I was 26 years old, was about food and energy. And so I'm kind of bringing this back around full circle for you to see, with this human design piece added to it, you take a lot of the guesswork out of what's going on energetically with you, and also really gives you, I think, a tool to help you enhance and be much more specific about what kinds of energy work do you need to do to make you, or to help you make different choices. So energy protection is by far one of the most common reasons that I have seen in all my years of work that people hold on to extra weight and or make unhealthy food decisions. I'm going to show you some elements in the chart that oftentimes can make you extra sensitive to other people's energies and make you extra sensitive to doing what you need to do to limit the impact of other people's energies on your body. Here's the thing. You can alter the way energy impacts your body by holding extra weight, especially extra abdominal weight. You have energy centers that are rooted in your body. When you are carrying extra weight, particularly in the front part of your body, it actually slows down the way energy hits the energy centers in your body. So sometimes we are carrying extra weight to protect ourselves or to slow down the way energy is impacting your physical body. And this, what we find sometimes, and some of you may have had this experience, is that if you're carrying extra weight because you're sensitive, when you start to lose that weight and you start to shed some of that shield that's protecting your energy centers because you're sensitive, when you start to take away that shield, your sensitivity goes back up because now you don't have that extra layer of protection over your energy. And as you get, as you lose that energy protection or that shield and your sensitivity increases, oftentimes at that point, it becomes more difficult to hold on to the decisions that you're trying to make about food and health choices, etc., because you become more sensitive, which was the reason oftentimes you put on extra weight in the first place, because you were trying to protect yourself or create an energetic shield. So it's important, if you are sensitive, to understand that when you start shedding that protective layer of adipose tissue that actually can slow down and block energy hitting your body, hitting your energy field, it's important to understand that you're going to become more sensitive, more intuitive, more tuned in, more connected, and more aware and impacted more deeply by the energy around you. And to be prepared for that and have backup strategies to manage that extra sensitivity until you get used to being sensitive on that level again. And you don't, really important to not default at that point back to, well, okay, I've got to put the shield back on because it's too hard to be this sensitive. So when we look at the human design chart, one of the markers of sensitivity is having this gate 19 defined. You can also, by the way, have this experience if you have the other half of this channel colored in too. So over here, you'll see the 49. Cindy's moving the cursor on it. So if you've got any of these two gates colored in on your chart, this cranks up the sensitivity factor of anybody's chart by 100. If you've got any of these two energies here, you are intuitively aware of shifts and changes in energy around you, of shifts and changes in emotional quality of energy around you. You're also going to be deeply sensitive to things like shifts and changes in food. These are the kids that when you change the brand of oatmeal, they're like, Mommy, what's wrong with the oatmeal? And mom's going, it's just oats, but they feel or taste when the brand is different. Things like your tags in your clothes and the seams in your sock might bug you. Smells might bug you. The environment might bug you. Negative people might bug you. Facebook might bug you, okay? So you are very, very sensitive when you have this energy. And it's not uncommon when people have this degree of sensitivity to cover up or to protect themselves energetically by putting on a little extra weight around the abdominal region. Next slide, Cindy. If you have any of these centers open, and I'm going to walk us through them in just a second. If you have any of these centers colored in, or rather not colored in, if you have any of these centers white on your chart, you will be extra sensitive. So let's talk about that for just a minute. If you go up to the top right of this slide and you look at the yellow diamond in the middle of the chart, that is the identity center. When you have this center open, first of all, you're going to have a tendency to question your lovability. So you already have an issue here of potentially questioning your own lovability. Secondly, when you have this energy center open, this is the identity center. So you're taking in the identities of all the people around you, and not only taking them in, you're amplifying them. It makes you really, really wise about other people. When you have this energy, you are here to be wise about others. It's a great configuration for therapists, for social workers, for teachers, people who work with other people. But on a personal level, when you're taking in other people's identities, you feel that wholeness of who they are. You feel their pain. You feel the patterns that have kept them stuck or trapped perhaps. You take in who they are. And if you don't understand that you have that openness, it's very easy, first of all, to identify deeply with the other people and merge to a certain degree with someone else. It's also really easy because you feel everybody's story, to feel deeply the pain of the people around you. And again, block it off by carrying extra weight to slow down the impact of other people's energies on your physical body. On the triangle on the right-hand side, the middle top, thank you, Cindy. This is the emotional energy center. We just talked about this right here. Half of you are going to have this white. Half of you will have this colored in. If you have this energy white in your chart, you are emotionally empathic. You're feeling other people's energies. And as you feel other people's energies and you're feeling it, remember, wherever we have openness, we have amplification, not just feeling it, but amplifying it. You're going to be bathed in this constant, intense emotional energy from the world around you. And it's very easy when you have this energy center open to be deeply sensitive to emotional energy, empathic, we say, and to really, again, cover this up with extra weight or emotional eating. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about the center and some of the gates on the center as we move on. In the next little section over here, the red square, this is the Sacral Center. If you have this center open, you are amplifying life force energy from the world around you, but you are not designed to carry that energy all the time. So if you are a human design type that is a manifester or a projector or a reflector, you are taking in life force energy and amplifying it, which is awesome in the short run, but in the long run, it's like perpetually drinking too much coffee. That's a lot of energy that you're taking in and amplifying. And if you're not resting and rejuvenating and restoring your energy on a consistent basis, alone and away from everybody else, you will have a tendency to take that energy in and amplify it and to fry your circuits. So again, not unusual to carry extra weight to block the flow of energy to keep you safe. The root center, which is the bottom left triangle, the root center is the center for adrenaline energy. And when you have this center open, there is a tendency to be under pressure, adrenaline pressure. And oftentimes when we eat down here, we are eating or we are carrying extra weight. It's not even necessarily about eating. You can be eating a regular diet, like regular number of healthy calories, okay? Everything that your doctor tells you you should do to lose weight, you're doing it and it's still not coming off. If you're carrying weight for energy protection sakes, traditionally eating less and exercising more, that formula might not work for you. And it's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because your body's holding on to that energy, not for caloric reasons, or it's holding on to the weight, not for caloric reasons. It's holding on to that weight because of energy protection issues. So sometimes when we have that pressure to protect ourselves from the pressure, we tend to carry extra weight. And then last but not least, on the right-hand side, if you have an open spleen, when you have an open spleen, you're very sensitive intuitively, and you're also very sensitive on the immune system level. When you have an open spleen, you're going to take in other people's immune energy, and that's going to impact you deeply. So you're feeling everybody's bodies, okay? And you're feeling, oftentimes you can be medically empathic when the center is white in your chart. So you're sensing what's going on with everybody from a health perspective. You're also, when you have the center open, feeling everybody else's fear, and you're amplifying everybody else's fear. And again, carrying that extra weight oftentimes is because you're protecting yourself from the impact of that energy on your physical body. All right. Next slide. Okay. Let's talk about some other energies in the chart. Now, I want to just make be really clear here when I'm talking about these energies. I'm going to show you these energies. Sometimes we get into this idea when we're talking about human design that people will say, well, I don't have this or I have this. Let me gently remind you that you have the entire chart. You have everything in this chart. It's just that sometimes you have it colored in and sometimes you have it white. But just because it's white doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means that you're variable in the way in which you experience these energies. If you have it colored in, it means you're more consistent in how you experience these energies. So going back to this slide, when we look at these particular energies, these are energies that show us, these are actually the energies for food in the chart. And it's really, I think, beautiful and interesting to note that all of the energy for food in the chart is about community and tribal energies. So the energy for food is located in the energy streams that are related to community and belonging. And so sometimes what happens for us is that if we don't feel loved, if we don't feel like we are part of a community, or we don't feel like we belong, sometimes we'll use food as an energetic substitute for love, community, and belonging. And it's not necessarily, what I really want you to understand from this is, again, we have this idea that when we struggle with food, that it's somehow dysfunctional. You know, we really have a bias towards that in our collective consciousness. And I want to show you here that the energy for food and the energy for love, community, and belonging in the chart are the same energies. So energetically, this isn't personal, it's not weakness. It's that your energy system recognizes that the energy for food and the energy for love, community, and belonging are the same. So if you don't feel like you have love, community, and belonging, it makes total sense that you would try to fill that energy for love, community, and belonging with food. Eating to cover up, it's that your energy field is going, I need the energy, this stream of energy for food, love, community, and belonging. And if I don't have this stream of energy from people, I'm going to get this stream of energy from food. So when we look first at the defense circuit, which is the top left-hand triangle, we see is that our life force is activated by a drive to eat food together in community. Nurturing food, love, sustenance, and here's a big one too, support, the energy for feeling supported from food. When you think about it, take it down, and the defense circuit energy is very basic, very, very tribal and kind of primal energy. This is the place where we have the energy in the archetype of the chart that is all about nurturing, loving, caring. It's also the energy for working to feed others and the energy for fighting and defending the people we love. So this is also the energy for sex and sexuality. So not confusingly too, sometimes the energy for sex and the energy for food, I mean, those are also the same energy. So if you feel like on a sexual level, something's not clicking up here for you, that sometimes that energy for sex and sexuality or challenges in the area of sex and sexuality, or feeling like you're not getting enough sex or sexual expression, can also sometimes lead to food. The other thing that I just want to throw in here, because this is not uncommon, and I want you to be aware of this. In all the years that I work with people with weight loss issues, particularly when we work on a subtle energetic level and we start looking at the deep subconscious drivers sometimes that hold weight, that keep us holding weight on our bodies. That a vast majority of my clients have had in some way, some history of sexual abuse or assault. And that also causes that energy protection piece, that holding onto the weight for protective purposes, to defend your energy from, or to defend your body from the energy of sexuality. And again, my goal here is to give you some awareness and for you to understand that the energy for sex and sexuality and food are very similar vibrationally. So when we are not feeling safe sexually or fulfilled sexually, it's not unusual to bring in food and to bring in digestive issues and nutritional issues, equation for healing and part of the equation for protection, because that energy for food will substitute for the energy for sexuality. When we look at the 40-37, this is another stream of energy where we have the energy for food and sustenance in the chart. This is actually where we carry the archetype or the energy for sustainable. So this channel in the human design chart shows us that as human beings, beings, we are designed to have all the food that we need sustainably. So we are designed ultimately to have food during dry times. We are designed to have food during abundant times. And this is the energy that creates in us the urge to maintain and sustain food stores, food resources. Here's the other piece that's really important to be aware of with this channel. And again, I'm talking about this generally. You might not have these energies colored in your chart, and it doesn't mean you're not going to be impacted by these themes. It just means that the way in which you experience these themes are going to be amplified and variable. So every one of us has the potential to experience these themes. Gently encourage you as you're going through this to really check in with yourself and see, just even feel in your body, does any of these themes resonate with you? Are you getting an internal feeling of like, oh, that makes sense, or oh, that feels right, or even in your gut, just sort of this feeling like, yeah, that could be it for me, is going to tell you, or your intuition or your inner awareness is going to tell you if this is an issue for you. If you're having trouble tuning into, does this work for me? This might make sense. You know, if you're trying to get into your head and think your way through it, but you're not really getting a feeling around it and you're confused, I would gently recommend that you talk to one of our Healing by Human Design specialists. And there is a link on the Facebook page for how you can go to the specialist page and check out our practitioners and book a session with them, even just for an hour, and have them walk through this information with you and help you get clarity about, is this something that's going on with you on a multidimensional energetic level? And is that energy of this theme impacting your ability to lose weight and or to integrate and digest in a healthier way? Here's the thing, and this is what I want you to really understand, because again, I want to take the moral judgment off of not being healthy. Especially, you know, especially the truth is when we're carrying extra weight, there's moral judgments around that. If you've got an energetic issue happening with you related to your health and your wellness and your body weight, especially, it's not going to matter what diet you're going to follow. You can be eating, you know, 4 peas and running a marathon, which I wouldn't recommend. I'm kidding, but I'm just saying, your caloric consumption could be really, really low, and your commitment to your exercise routine could be really, really high, and you still might not shed the weight because the issue isn't in your body, it's in your energy field. And to have somebody walk through a diagnostic process or an assessment process with you to help you get clarity about what's going on in my energy field that might be keeping me in a position where I'm holding onto this weight is crucial. All right, back to the slide. So the 4037 says this, and this is cool. We are designed to be healthy when we rest. The little triangle that's on the top of this channel called the Will Center, that little triangle here says that human beings are healthy and sustainable when they have consistent cycles of rest. We need to have cycles of rest to restore ourselves, to replenish ourselves, to resource ourselves, because it's in these cycles of rest that we stop relying on our work and our sheer efforts to create resources, and we remember to turn to source or spirit or God or the universe or whatever words you want to use. That we are designed to have cycles of restoration and resourcing as part of our health and wellness. So what this says is that if you start losing your connection, your spiritual connection to source, it's actually going to not just make you feel lost and confused about your life and lose your moral compass potentially and feel like you're disempowered in the world. It's actually also going to impact your health and wellness. Cycles of rest and restoration are crucial for taking care of yourself. And again, because the energy for rest and restoration is also the same energy for sustainable food and resources, if you're not taking consistent rest, if you're not living a life that's balanced, you're going to reach for food, that energetic need for rest. And it's not weakness, it's not dysfunction, it's just rest and food have the same energies. In fact, the energy for the stomach is located in this channel. If you're not taking consistent cycles of rest and restoration, it's going to impact your stomach and your digestion. And it's definitely going to impact your health and your capacity to assimilate and digest nutrition. Last but not least, the 1949, we already talked about this as being a very sensitive channel. this is also the energy that connects us to mammals. This particular channel, sometimes we do better being vegetarian because we already have our own source of this energy. And sometimes we do better not being vegetarian. It just depends on your own inner authority. I'm not going to look at this chart and go, oh, this is the design of a vegetarian, whether you're a vegetarian or not. Your body knows whether you're a vegetarian or not. Your body knows whether you need to eat meat or not. And knowing how to tune into your own inner guidance system, and that means understanding your human design type, meaning are you a manifestor, a generator, manifesting generator, projector, or reflector? Good decisions based on your energy type will help you determine what's the best way for you to eat. But I do want you to see that we are naturally designed actually to eat meat. That being said, this particular energy in the chart is in the middle of changing, where actually the chart is actually in the middle of an evolution. And as we move closer to 2027, the human need to consume meat is shifting. And so vegetarianism and veganism, is not necessarily just a social trend. It's actually a marker that we are in a cycle of evolution, and that the way in which we eat and the relationships that we have with nature and animals is changing. So next slide, Cindy. In this last channel, I just want to show you here that sufficiency, we are designed to be supported. The 3955, this channel here, is the channel that is about eating and having enough. It's also the energy for abundance. So the energy for food and the spiritual energy for abundance and alchemy, and also deep emotional energy. So God, food, emotions, and abundance are all located in the same place. All right. So what happens here a lot of times, first of all, let me just back up for just a minute and say physiologically, this is the energy for the pancreas, the sweetness of life. So we associate even sweetness with God and positive emotions and abundance, right? This is also where we have the energy for the digestive system, in particular, the GI tract, the intestines, and the source of the vagal nerve, which is actually a nerve that connects the gut, the heart, and the mind. So this particular channel and this particular energy is crucial for keeping us aligned with our mindset, our creative capacity, source, and our faith and our trust that we will be supported and provided for. Now, it is the energy for abundance, but the opposite of it thematically is the energy for lack. So when we're not experiencing this energy in its highest expression, we're actually living in a state of lack. So when we are feeling lack, or we are lacking in anything, or we feel like we're lacking in anything, we actually will substitute that abundance for food. And that makes total sense. But here's the thing. We are designed to be sufficient, meaning we are designed to have enough. Overabundance because we are overcompensating for a perception that we are lacking in some way. Then we carry extra weight, we overeat, we emotionally eat, and we oftentimes will impact or hurt our pancreas and start spinning out into things like diabetes, all right? So oftentimes, not so much type 1, but type 2 diabetes especially can come from an overconsumption of sweets and overconsumption of the food energy that is all about connecting to source. So when we look at this energy and we look at it from the context, okay, what do we need to do in relationship with food? To heal your relationship with food, you have to start first by healing your relationship with source. And most importantly, you have to heal that sense of separation that many of us carry, that you're not supported by source, that you're not connected to source, that you're not connected to God, or that God has dropped you off on this planet and abandoned you here. That oftentimes the spiritual issue or the spiritual wounding of feeling disconnected from source and trusting that you'll be fully supported manifests in the energy of lack, and ultimately manifests as overconsumption, or sometimes trying to control in dysfunctional ways like bulimia or anorexia, trying to control that connection with source by having challenges or issues in food and food consumption. People will often say to me, what is the most important thing that I need to do to lose weight? And I will say, there's a lot of things you have to do, for sure. It's not a simple answer, but I would certainly say the most important place that I would encourage you to start is to ask yourself, do you trust source? Do you trust God? Number 2, do you feel like you have enough? Number 3, what is the definition for you of enough? And are you overcompensating in any way for feeling like you don't have enough by using food to fill that gap? That being said, next slide, Cindy. The next source in the chart for issues around weight, nutrition, digestion, and assimilation is going to be burnout. Burnout is a big, big factor. I will tell you that in my practice, probably 95% of my clients are burned out. And burnout comes from a lot of different sources. I would say first and foremost, primarily, the major source of burnout is not using your energy correctly. Most of us, if not all of us, are designed to work, to rest, and the way in which we work and the way in which we rest will vary from person to person. We are designed to wait for things to show up in life and to respond or to be in the flow of life as it unfolds. Again, understanding and learning about your human design type will help you understand more about how to maximize and leverage your energy correctly so you don't burn out. But the bottom line is, most of us are working jobs and doing work we hate. 68% of Americans hate their jobs. That's a lot. Okay, most of us are working in a way that isn't correct for us. And if you are not doing the work you love or working in a way that's correct for you, you're going to burn out. If you're pushing with willpower that you don't have, and by the way, 7/8 of us by design do not have willpower. So if you think you don't have willpower, so does most people don't, and it's not personal, and you haven't done anything wrong. If you're pushing and you're not resting sufficiently and living a balanced life, you will burn out. If you are under pressure and stress constantly, if you're letting fear rule you and burn you out and keep you in an accelerated, amplified state of adrenaline, stress, and pressure, you will burn out. And if you burn out, you will blow your thyroid, because the thyroid is located in the throat center. The throat center is the center for manifestation into action. If you blow your thyroid, the entire endocrine system collapses. You go into adrenal burnout. And ultimately, you will affect the way you metabolize, digest, and assimilate. All right, next slide, Cindy. Burnout comes from 2 major sources other than the ones that I just listed. Number 1 is not living true to your human design type. Again, learn about your type. Resources where you can discover more about your type. It also comes from compromising. When you're not living true to who you are, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, spend a lot of energy trying to, energetic mask, you spend a lot of energy trying to be something that you're not when you're not living true to yourself, and it burns you out. It takes a lot of energy to say no to something you want to say yes to, and it takes a lot of energy to say yes to something you want to say no to. All right, the next thing that impacts us is our sorry, burnout continued. Wait, oh, missed that slide. Okay. 2 more markers of burnout in the chart is actually the gate 30, which actually literally can be called burnout. If you have this energy, it means you're ultra intense, and that you may find, if you're not living balanced in your life, if you have this colored in, that you have cycles of burnout in your life. And also the 2946, again, these are 2 where if you specifically have these channels colored in, for all the rest of the stuff I've talked about, it doesn't matter if it's colored in or defined, but here, if it's colored in, it just means that if you're pushing too hard, too fast in the wrong direction, or trying to be something that you're not, and you have this 2946, your physical body will let you know very quickly that you're not on track. So, all right, number 2, the next thing that influences us is, let's talk about what is conditioning. So if you look at what is conditioning, conditioning is, or comes from, next slide, Cindy, your life experiences. So any pain, trauma, associations, emotions, thoughts, beliefs about yourself, any of those that are not supportive of you will create conditioning. And though you will react to circumstances and situations around food, health, and nutrition based on your life experiences. Imprinting is another way in which we are conditioned. From the moment you are conceived, and certainly imprinted by the house in which you are raised, the people whose energy you are experiencing consistently when you are growing up, your parents' type, your parents' human design type, and your parents' energy centers. So wherever you have openness and wherever you have, where your parents have definition, wherever you experience the energy of your family, it actually energetically imprints you. And when we get imprinted, it's easy sometimes to feel like or to believe that we are something that we are not. Many of you maybe have even experienced this when you went out into the world as a young adult and you really started to get into your own integrity of your own energy system away from your family's imprinting. You may have discovered that you are in fact quite different from your family. Or maybe you tried to be like your family and do things like, say, your dad did, and it didn't quite work. Sometimes that doesn't work because you're imprinted, and when you get out of that energy field and you go out into the world, you're not borrowing that energy from your family anymore, and you don't have it in that same way. And so you can't be or who you were raised to be, and you have to really go through this journey of discovering who are you separate from your family. But that imprinting will certainly influence your decision making, and particularly influence your decision making around food and health and wellness. And just to make it a little bit more interesting, I just always like to throw this in because I find this fascinating. You actually inherit your human design or your energy blueprint from your grandparents. If you had an opportunity to run your grandparents' charts and look at your charts, you would see that you and your grandparents are quite similar. If you are a parent, your children have inherited their design from your parents, which I think is just a really cool way of looking at the fact that family dynamics are intergenerational. They create epigenetic influences, meaning they will create protein coats on your DNA and actually influence your genetic expression, particularly around health and wellness. You heal your intergenerational family dynamics, or certainly when you heal yourself, meaning when you are living in alignment with who you are, it doesn't only just impact you, it actually impacts your family in multiple generations. So if you think like, if you really think about this, you are destined through reproduction to continue to live out the cycles in your family dynamics. When you change those cycles, actually can change the nature of how your family relates, and ultimately it'll change the protein coatings on your genes, and it actually can influence and change your genetic expression. Of course, last but not least, part of your conditioning, scrolling down, some of what you are experiencing in the world comes from your actual DNA, your genes, and your DNA will influence you. The third thing that keeps us sometimes struggling with health and wellness and making good choices are our mistaken motivations. We are designed to give and take energy, and we all have a unique set of energy needs. When you do not get your energy needs met appropriately over time, we often develop reactive behavioral patterns and reactive behavioral choice mechanisms that help us get our energy needs met inappropriately. Okay, so think about, let's talk about this just strictly in the terms of, let's say, a 2-year-old, so it'll make a little bit more sense. If you have a 2-year-old, 2-year-olds have a high need to feel empowered. That's why they like to say the word no, right? If you are 2 and you are a child and nobody teaches you how to get your energy needs met appropriately and how to feel powerful energetically in an appropriate way, you might learn how to get your need for power met inappropriately. And you might be a child and grow up even to be an adult who engages strongly in power struggles with people. Or maybe you go underground with your power and you become afraid of living out your power appropriately and you smush that need for power down. When you don't learn how to use your energy correctly from the start, we develop consistent behavioral patterns, and those behavioral patterns will create energetic reactions. And if we have those energetic reactions, sometimes they will cause us to make choices that don't work for us. So, Cindy, one of the things that we talk about in the Healing by Human Design system is that if you put all the energies in the chart, all of the archetypes of the human design energy system together, you actually come up with what I call the 9 resiliency keys. These 9 resiliency keys are the 9 core energetic needs that all people, children and adults, all people need And if you don't get these needs met appropriately, or if you don't feel like you are ranking high on having these needs met appropriately, it is going to influence the way in which you make decisions, and ultimately it's going to influence your health and wellness. So for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to read the list of the 9 resiliency keys. I invite you is to really check in and see, oh, do I feel this way? Do I have this need met? Am I living the highest element or the highest expression of this out right now? So the 9 resiliency keys are lovability. It needs to feel loved or lovable. Empowerment. Everybody needs to feel powerful appropriately. Courage. Everybody needs to know how to not let your body and your life be hijacked by fear. Decisiveness. Everybody needs to know how to make good and strong and healthy decisions in the way that's right for you, and that's going to be different for each and every one of you. Everybody needs to understand their emotional energy and how to use that emotional energy as part of your creative power, and to not allow emotional energy to hijack you and to take you away from making good and strong and powerful choices. Everybody needs to know how their intuition works and how to trust themselves and how to connect to their own inner wisdom. Human design is a great tool to show you how does your intuition work and what is that inner voice inside of you? How does it operate? You have to, if you're going to be strong and healthy and make good, powerful decisions and not have your energy co-opted by others or the world around you, you've got to know how to leverage your energy correctly. You have to know when to rest. You have to know when to take action, and you have to understand your unique balance between relaxation and effort. You have to value yourself. Everybody needs to feel valuable. If you don't feel valuable, it's going to influence your choices. If you're not taking your vitamins or exercising every morning and doing the things you need to do to nurture and take care of yourself, you don't value yourself enough. And that's an important piece to look at and to bring back into alignment in the healing process when we're talking about health, health, weight loss, actually wealth too, health, weight loss, nutrition, digestion, assimilation, and manifesting full vitality. And then last but not least, everybody needs to have the freedom to express themselves authentically. If you are compromising who you are for the sake of other people and you're not feeling free to express who you really are, it will impact your health and wellness and ultimately your digestion system and lots of other things as well. So if you are wanting to learn more about the 9 resiliency keys and to really go more deeply into looking at how these resiliency keys or these mistaken motivations, these unmet energy needs might be influencing you, you can get this free report, healingbyhumandesign.com/thank-you/. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cindy, this is also on the Facebook page, yes?
Yes, there's a button there that says the free.
So you can just download this and go through this, and you don't even have to have your chart yet to look at it. So go ahead, and you'll get more out of it if you have your chart, but you can start looking at it now. Just print it up and go through some of the exercises and assess yourself on this. Is there something going on here in these 9 resiliency keys that you need to look at? All right. Last thing that oftentimes can influence our health and vitality is a lack of an empowered and abundant belief systems. You can be healthy and vital. If you don't believe that you can, if you have a set of beliefs that are keeping you from believing that you're lovable, powerful, valuable, capable, that can oftentimes also impact your ability to make good decisions. So, all right, so let's put this all together. One of the things that I really wanted to bring out for you this hour is to, sorry, we've run over just a wee bit, I apologize, but is to really look at just eating healthier, just exercising is awesome, but it's not necessarily going to be a permanent solution to optimal health, wellness, and nutrition. If you're going to live out reflection or the full expression of vitality, health and wellness, digestion, if you're going to digest in a healthy way, assimilate in a healthy way, if you're going to eat well and make good choices and do what's correct for you, you have to understand that this is a multifaceted, multidimensional process. When we look at the body, and when I look at the body in the context of the Healing by Human Design system, I am looking at the body on multiple layers. And for us to have full and permanent healing, we have to integrate healing on all of these levels. This is why, or alternative health is awesome, but it doesn't address the big picture. And we cannot just cut out Western medicine or cut out what we might call alternative or holistic medicine either. We have to have an integrated approach to healing. So when we are looking at healing, we are looking at healing on a physical level, on a vital level, on a mental level, on an emotional level, and on a supramental level, not so much on the bliss body level, but on a supramental level, meaning we are creating health and wellness in a creative way. So as we go through these slides briefly, and you can keep scrolling, Cindy, let's talk about what does that mean. Certainly the physical layer means you got to really be optimal in your nutrition and have a good and strong and healthy relationship with food. Obviously, you got to be putting into your body the things that are correct for you. And as you've seen over this last hour, the way in which you eat, what you eat, how you choose what you eat, the things that influence how you eat is going to be different for each and every one of us. And there is no formula for what you need to be eating, but there is your formula. So for you to eat correctly and to eat well, you have to know how to tune into your body and your energy and to really feel what's correct for you. Again, understanding your human design type is crucial to help you tune into, okay, what is right for me to eat? What feels good? What feels healthy? Next layer of the body, or the next layer of the aura or the energy field, we're looking at the vital body. There is a blueprint. You have a energetic blueprint for health. The blueprint that unfolds the evolution of your body. It's the blueprint that dictates that you have, 10 fingers, 10 toes, the hair you have, the body that you have. For you to fully manifest health and wellness, we have to also look at what's going on the physical blueprint. This is the energy level that deals with the vital life force energies with chi. If you're going to get acupuncture or use acupressure, that acupressure and acupuncture heals on a vital body level. Ayurveda heals on a vital body level. Any alternative health or holistic health system that tackles alignment with the body and the blueprint or deals with the vital body energy is working on this level of health and wellness. And certainly when we look at the Healing by Human Design system, we use subtle energy therapies like essential oils and flower essences to help restore the physical manifestation of the body and align it back with the blueprint of the body and make sure that the blueprint, the energy blueprint of the body, is staying strong and healthy. The next layer of the aura are the mental and the emotional fields. This is where you carry your conditioning. So not only do we need to heal the physical body, we need to also heal the energy body, the vital body, by using subtle energy medicine therapies. But we also have to look at what's influencing what's in your conditioning field. What experiences have you had? What thoughts and beliefs do you have? What meaning have you associated with your experiences? What emotions have you had? This is where we carry all of the patterns that we've brought with us from our life experiences, the imprinting that we carry from our families. All of this is going to influence the vital body expression, the energetic blueprint of your body, as well as your physical body. So we can't just do mind-body healing, okay? We have to do mind, emotion, vital body healing. Body healing, we're leaving out some big pieces. So you have to add this piece too, where you're looking at releasing and healing any of the conditioning or aligning your conditioning so that what you are experiencing is in alignment with the truth of who you are. And then last but not least, we have to tap into what we call the non-manifest reality, or the quantum physics of the quantum of finite possibilities, and tap into new meanings and cosmic creativity so that you start understanding who you are, understanding your choices, and understanding or giving your experiences new meaning, assigning them new meanings. Like, that's as simple as going from believing that you're a victim to believing that you're empowered. That's taking a story from your conditioned experiences, and instead of believing that you were a victim, starting to believe that you had power. We have to change the meaning of how we perceive ourselves if we're going to heal ourselves. So you can scroll through to the next 2 slides, Cindy. Keep going. You can't just eat less, make healthier choices, exercise, and lose weight, because the manifestation of your healthy body is embedded in multiple layers of your energy body, and it's not just in your physical body. You certainly can start with physically altering your experience, but you've got to integrate other levels of healing if you're going to have permanent weight loss and permanent tapping into vitality on a permanent level. You also have to know how to reassign meaning to your specific life experiences and your emotions in order to bypass or influence your physiology. And I just have to throw this out here. Human design shows us that only 1/8 of us actually have willpower. So you cannot just will your way into dieting and losing weight and staying healthy. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. And you all know it doesn't work. The Healing by Human Design system is a healing modality that works across all the layers of the body and the energy field so that you can redefine the meaning of your experience and create something different. You can start perceiving yourself differently, understanding your emotions differently, working with your awareness in a different way, and start to consciously, by shifting meaning, bring out the highest expression of your authentic self. Healing by Human Design is a synthesis of human design, energy psychology, subtle energy therapies, and a unique and specific way of accessing the quantum field so that you can help heal the root of pain, or heal the root, in this case, of the pain that might be creating for you choices that are taking away from your health and wellness and your optimal physical vitality, so that you can create a different reality and a different experience. So let's talk about what's next for you. First and foremost, the most important thing that I want you to do is, if you do not have your human design chart, get your human design chart. I am getting ready to teach a brand new program. It's part of my human design specialty series classes called Courage by Design. It's a program that's going to teach you how to unlock the hidden meaning of your fear so that you can feel the fear and do it anyway. This is a really important class to look at and to integrate in the context of health and wellness and food. Because many times, as we saw when we were looking through the sources, some of the sources of carrying extra weight, for example, and not making good nutritional choices in the chart, a lot of times the motivating driver is fear. That I'm not lovable, I'm not powerful, or the fear of your power is the fear that I'm not worthy, the fear that my emotions are never going to be stable and I'm never going to be able to manifest anything because I'm emotionally volatile, the fear that you can't trust your own intuition and ever know what's true for you, the fear that you're not going to be supported by source, the fear that you're inadequate, the fear of the future, the fear of the past, the fear of failing your responsibilities and obligations, the fear of failure, the fear that life has no meaning, the fear that you might never get it, whatever it may be, right. For you to really get to the root of what's driving your decision making, you've got to understand the role of fear and how fear might be holding you back from really making good and strong, powerful decisions for yourself. So this program goes through the specific design of fear in the chart and gives you some really solid concrete strategies that can help you unlock fear and work with, most importantly, the supramental layer of the aura, meaning we're going to tap into redefining meaning so that we can collapse different quantum possibilities of health and wellness and courage in your life. Time program, you can go to the next slide. Well, Courage by Design program works like this. You're going to get 4 videos that walk you through specific elements in the chart and specific exercises. You can go through the next slide, Cindy. In addition to those 4 videos, on Monday, December the 5th at 9 a.m. Oops, back up one. Sorry, at 9 a.m. and at 7:30 p.m. Central, you're going to attend a live open Q&A session. So you're going to watch these videos, get your chart, go through some of the exercises, and then you can come to the live Q&A session. There's 2 of them, where you're going to discuss your questions, the material, and specifically we're going to look at your chart. So I can see your chart, I can answer your questions about your energy blueprint and talk about some strategies for you to overcome fear, or the grip that fear might have in your life, and really look at how can you use this new understanding to make a different set of empowered choices around health and wellness. You're also going to be invited to join our exclusive Facebook group so you can share charts, insights, and questions with other students in the program and with other like-minded people. The cost of this program is $27. keeping this cost super low because I really want you to get in here and tackle this. We don't need to be afraid. You don't need to be afraid. And when you can understand how fear works and not let fear keep you from doing what you want to do or making the choices you need to make, you can liberate yourself and live a life that's much more aligned with who you are and really tap into a totally different level of vitality and health and wellness. If you want to go deeper and learn even more, if you register for the Fear program, I'm going to give you a special discount on the Healing by Human Design Foundation program. Normally, this is a $147 program. It's on sale for $97. If you register for the Courage class, you're going to get to take the foundation program for only $70. So it's kind of like getting the foundation program on sale plus getting the Courage class for free. So that's an offer that I'm going to share with you. Once you register for the Courage class, all of this will be automated and you will know exactly, you'll get all the information you need to follow through if you want to go ahead and also register for the foundation program. The foundation program is a self-study program. It is also a prerequisite program for any of the Healing by Human Design programs. So if you go on and you decide you want to implement the Healing by Human Design system as a professional and add it to your coaching practice or your healing practice, or you want to set off and do this exclusively as your healing work, foundation program. If you want to go on and do any of our more advanced classes like the Master Alignment programs, which go deep into really helping you align yourself on multiple levels energetically using the integrated we've created, you've got to have this foundation program first. So it'll behoove you to go ahead and get it done and get started with it. So you can register either by here going to this link, and I think Cindy has the link also on the Facebook page. And we will also email you a link later just so that you have that in a nice handy place. Here's the thing. Thank you all so much for joining me. I know we went a little bit over. This was a ton of information. I get so excited about sharing this. There's so much more I could have shared with you. We could have been here for hours, but I really want you, if you don't walk away with anything else, walk away with this today. You are struggling to make good choices around your health and vitality. You're not broken. You're not stuck. You don't have issues with morality or character or willpower even, all right? Oftentimes we're not making the right choices for us because we haven't been taught how to do that. We haven't been taught to tune into the truth of who we are, our authentic decision-making strategies, what's right and correct for us. And we are energetically designed to compensate and nutritional issues when we don't know how our energy field operates correctly. So really come at yourself from a compassionate, loving place. If you can, at least in this, from this one call, take a step back and go, wow, maybe I've made the choices that I've made because in my infinite wisdom about how valuable and precious I am, I've compensated for something that I'm sensing is lacking in my life. I want to invite you to step into a space where you allow yourself to believe and to receive, which, by the way, is in human design, what we learn is that you are designed to receive. There's nothing you have to do to make receiving happen. You just have to be who you are. So if you can move into a space where you allow yourself to at least have hope that just by being who you are, you can receive all the support, all the information that you need to shift the meaning of your life experiences and tap into a greater degree of health and vitality, and do it from a place of self-love and compassion, then this has been a good hour spent. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you understand that on this planet, each and every one of us is who we are because you're here. We would not be who we are if you weren't here. So we are because you are, and I thank you all for being who you are, and I thank you all for joining me today.
There were